Hello, folks. On today's show, I'm going to give you a few updates where I've been, what I've been doing lately, and I want to answer a viewer question. It was way too long for you to kind of write back to them. That's going to be right here, right now on Ham Radio for Non-Techies. Well, welcome back to Ham Radio for Non-Techies, guys. My name is Scott. My call sign is KI5NPL, and I run the Ham Radio for Non-Techies channel, as well as the website, hamradiofornontechies.com. So, let's go with a few updates real quick here. I know I've been gone for a while. I haven't put a video out in a while, and part of it was because I'm just having, like, writer's block, and the other thing is I've had to kind of go back. The channel's not really supporting the household like I was hoping or wishing it would, no matter how hard I tried. And I've had to kind of go back into my web design stuff and a couple other side gigs that I've got going on to bring in extra money, get the household back in order. But I am trying to come up with some new topics for you guys. And again, I don't want to just throw out a video to you guys and just have it just have a video out there. I want to bring you guys value, and that's kind of what brought up today's show. I was actually a viewer that initiated the show for us. So that's where I've been. Another thing is down below in the description of every one of my videos, if you go down below in the description and click see more, you'll see a list of things that I either gear that I use or things that I talked about in every one of my videos. So if there's a video out there that has something where I'm talking about specific products or specific software or, links to places, all those links will always be down in the bottom of the description area of every one of my videos. I do tailor each video separately. I have a generic list of things like what gear I have in my shack and things like that. But if I have certain topics where I'm referring to certain things, I try to always have every single URL or link to those products, services, websites, references, whatever, down below in the description. So keep that in mind. If you ever have that little question mark go off in your head, like, well, what was you talking about that? It's all down below. Let's see. Oh, well, obviously we got Thanksgiving coming tomorrow, and my plans have changed a little bit this year from what I normally do, and it is what it is, but that's fine. But I hope you guys all have a very safe and happy Thanksgiving. So with that, guys, I think we ought to get on with the show. Last thing is going to be that this channel is rapidly approaching 10,000 subscribers. And I could not have done this without you guys. I could not have done this without the ham radio community of YouTubers out there that have helped me and supported me throughout my entire journey in ham radio as a YouTuber. So I really want to thank you guys from the bottom of my heart. Just before Thanksgiving, that's what I've got to be thankful for this year, is that I've got a great support of a community of hams around the world, everywhere around the world. And you guys really made this possible. So yeah, we are approaching 10,000 subscribers. I'm trying to come up with something kind of cool for that. I mean, I don't really know what else I can do. I know I had an idea about having a couple of the other YouTubers that are local to me come down to the house and have a big barbecue here at the house, and maybe do like a live stream so you guys can see all the crazy antics that go on with, a party over here or something. I don't know. We'll get that all figured out. So anyway, I have a question that came from a viewer that watched my video on new hams, how to connect your gear. And unfortunately, he wrote such a long, he has a lot of questions in here. And I thought there's two ways I can deal with this. I can either spend the next hour and a half writing and typing all this stuff out, or I can just make a simple video. I don't normally, it depends on the topic and stuff. I don't normally, allow a comment just to dictate a new show. But I think it was necessary for this, even though I do have videos that covered a lot of these questions. I now have, 130, 140 something videos out there. So going through them all, trying to find out where I talk about what particular thing might be a little daunting. So I want to try and cover all of that. But in the future, if you guys have any questions for me, if it's a long question, we need a lot of information, or you want to do something, hey, you know what? We can hop on a Zoom call. I can talk to you personally on like that, or we can just email back and forth. We can figure out some way to communicate to get you the answers that you need. And again, as always, if I don't have the exact answer, I will point you in the right direction of somebody who does have the right answer, so you guys get the proper and accurate information and not being, being given speculative information. Okay, so the viewer question is as follows. He says he likes my videos, obviously, and this is my friend John here. What power supply and how big do you recommend to run the 7300 and a 991 versus a 7100 simultaneously with power to spare? Okay, so I did a video. You guys know that when I first got into ham radio, I bought a 991A, and I had that as my main radio. And then I eventually bought a 7300 because I wanted to use that for my Parks on the Air stuff. Well, at one point, I ended up with the 991 running, doing VHF, UHF. We have our normal daily nets, and I try to attend those when I have time. So I wanted to run that and be able to transmit on VHF, UHF through a power supply. At the same time, be doing FT8 on my 7300 sitting right next to the 991. So I bought a power supply that, you know, the first one I bought is what I was using. I didn't see any reason why you couldn't hook up two radios and operate two radios at the same time with one power supply. And after doing a little bit of research, I found that, yeah, you can do that, and there's nothing wrong with that, having two radios, 200-watt rigs on a power supply. Just make sure that you have fuses. And most of your radios, the 991, the 7300, 7100, they all come with a power cable that has a fuse in line with it. So make sure those fuses are on there, and you should be safe to run it with no problem. So the one that I chose, and I've got it here. Let me bring it up real quick. My mistake. The one that I've got here is the Diamond GZV 4000 switching power supply. This is a 40 amp 5 to 15 volt DC output, plugs into the wall. On the back of it, it'll show a rear picture of it here, but it's got the, you know, the positive, negative, and a ground. And the front of it is actually kind of cool because the front allows you to hook in wires like you would like on speakers. It also has a 12 volt like a cigarette lighter socket here that you can put stuff in there. I've had mine since I got into ham radio. I've been very happy with this thing. There are a lot, and I'm just going to get this out of the way now. There are a lot of products out there for everything you're thinking of. So I can recommend one power supply or one type of antenna or one radio, but there's so many things out there. It depends on you. It depends on what you want and what's going to serve you, what's going to suit your budget, things like that. I always bring in budget because not everybody has thousands of dollars to spend on crazy high-end gear. Maybe you just want to get into ham radio and get in for the cheapest you can. So another story for another time. But the Diamond GZV 4000, that ran and still runs today, both my radios. Now, since then, I made a change. I got rid of my 991, and I replaced it with just a regular VHF radio, an 80-watt VHF radio, and that was the Yaesu FT-2980, I believe. Yeah, FT-2980, and that's running up on my GP-9 out back. But I can run both those radios at the same time, so I can be sitting there on the net with my local club and talking to them and listening and stuff like that while I'm doing FT8 or while I'm doing other stuff. I could be on the other radio hunting POTA activators, whatever. So I can do both. And I haven't had any problems or issues with that at this point. And that's been over, almost 2 years now. So that worked just fine. The next question that he had, I might as well go back to the question here. Sorry about that. What antenna tuner do you recommend with this setup? The 7300 has a limited built-in tuner, and I'm unclear on adding an external tuner, the whys and available choices. Again, as far as available choices are, your available choices are freaking endless. You can get all kinds of antenna tuners. However, and this might tick off a couple of you. I'm sorry, it's my opinion, all right? So just deal with it. I say don't screw around with getting antennas that require tuners. Why not just go resonant? Have a resonant antenna, cut the tuner out completely. So with resonant antennas, you have a lot of choices. You have the DX Commander. Excellent antenna. I've got one in my backyard. I got the DX Commander Classic. That's permanently in my backyard. And I have a DX Commander Expedition that I bring out when I go do Parks on the Air. I also, the thing about antennas, and let's just get this out of the way. This is for most of you new guys. Antennas are like tattoos. You buy one, and before you know it, you've got 10. Ask me how I know. So you can start off with just keeping with the resonant antennas. That way you don't have to worry about the tuner. However, it will require you to have an antenna analyzer which is something you should have in your arsenal anyway. Every single ham in the world at some point in time should own an antenna analyzer. And that would allow you the freedom to not only check the SWR and check different parts or different things that have to do with your antennas, but if you're building your own antennas, doing a DIY route, you can now create, test, and operate your own antennas and not have to go out and buy antennas. However, I do say the DX Commander is a fantastic antenna. But even if you go out and buy kits, you know, like the Coffee and Ham Radios has an excellent antenna. Excellent antenna. Highly recommend it. If you buy that and build that kit, you have to hook it up to some sort of analyzer to tune it one time, and then you're ready to go. Same with KM4 or K6ARK. K6ARK Adam, he's got a great little set of antennas, mostly for like doing more of the QRP stuff, you know, little tiny micro antenna things. But you're going to need a tuner for those as well. Same with KM4ACK. He has another awesome, really awesome low cost end-fed half-wave kit that when you get done, you have to tune and use. So I would say don't mess around with tuners if you don't have to. If you're gonna get an antenna that requires a tuner, then you know LDG has great tuners out there. I've got the LDG AT200 Pro 2, I believe it is. All this stuff. Look down below in my links down below this video. You'll see a link for something called my Kitco or kit.co. If you click on that and go into my base station recommendations, in there I have not only do I have radios in there, I've got recommendations for antennas and tuners and power supplies and cables, accessories, all kinds of crap. So a lot of that stuff is in there for you guys from videos I've done prior to this one here. So yeah, can you get a tuner? Should you get a tuner? It's a personal decision. I personally, you know, when I first got the stuff, I had no intention of building antennas. I was like, oh, you know, again, I'm trying to outthink the experts here. I've been doing this for a while. And what ended up happening is I ended up getting curious about antenna building. And once I saw how easy it was, like, oh, I can do that. I mean, I can solder, I can wrap wire around a toroid and all that kind of stuff. And so I did so. And I got myself an antenna tuner. I bought a rig, or not antenna tuner, an antenna analyzer. I bought the Rig Expert AA600, which is my recommendation. There are a lot out there. Again, it's based on your budget, what you want, and what frequencies you want to be able to tune up on. I highly recommend that any tuner you get, at least do all the HF frequencies, because most likely if you're building antennas, you're doing it for HF, not really for VHF, UHF. But it's good to have a whole full spectrum. If you have it, better to have it, not need it, blah, blah, blah. So I ended up building antenna out and used my my tuner. And I've been hooked on that ever since. It's been something I like to do. So when I first started out, I did have a couple of antennas that I was going to just use a tuner with. I did buy the tuner, and I used it for a while. And then I learned about the resonant antenna stuff, and that kind of changed everything. So antenna tuner or not to antenna tuner, that's the question. You got to figure that out for yourself. There are a lot of options out there for you. So going on with his question here, the pictured tuner, I guess he was referring to my video here. The pictured tuner you show has two coax antenna inputs for separate antennas. Actually, no. Actually, one input comes from your antenna into the tuner, and the other one goes from the tuner into your radio. So when you do tune up, it sends a signal through the tuner. The tuner then talks to the antenna, tunes it up with your radio, and everything makes everything kosher. So that's really how it works. So that leads into his next question. Are there switches that can handle 4 or more antennas that would plug into one of the other tuner ports? You can do this. And the recommendation, if you want to go with antenna switches, I would suggest something like this, which is the MFJ 2704. It runs about $140. It's a 4-position SO239 2 kilowatt 900 megahertz antenna switch. I've got this, and the only reason why I really use this, if I'm going out and doing parks on the air, and this is all thanks to Cade MRD, by the way. Thank you, Mike. When I went out and did parks on the air with him one time, he had brought out multiple antennas. Like, well, what are we just going to sit here and change coax the whole time? He's like, no. He pulled out this thing, and this thing weighs like a ton. It's a massive, it's about so big, but it just weighs a lot. Anyway, you plug in your 4 antennas. So, or how many other antennas you have with you. The bottom part here, that connects back to your radio. So when you want to transmit or whatever, you switch. And I actually did what he did. Sirius says 1, 2, 3, and 4 on the top up here. I took a label maker because I only have like 4 or 5 antennas I bring out with me on a regular basis. So I took a label maker and labeled each of these ports so I know which one of these things is going to which antenna while I'm out in the field if I have 4 antennas running. So with that, you could just switch back and forth and do your things. So let's go back to his question here once more. So yeah, you can get the switches that can handle 4 more antennas that plug into one of the tuner ports. But again, you know, if you can avoid the tuner thing, if you don't need to use an antenna that requires tuning, I stick with resonant. And last question here was, do you happen to know the wire gauge size of the 7300? Okay, so I did a little research on this because I really honestly just didn't know, and I'm not going to give you guys bad info. The majority of the power cables that come with your radios, whether that be the ICOMs or the Yaesus, this and that, any of the base station radios, most of the time, it looks like they're going to be 12 gauge wire. So if you're going to add in, you know, spade connectors or power pole, anything like that, you're going to, you know, it's good information to have there. So I think those are 12 gauge wires on that. So anyway, that pretty much wraps it up, guys. I really want to answer his question here, but like I said, there's so much stuff involved here. And if you're new to ham radio, you're thinking about getting into ham radio, it's easy to run down the rabbit holes and go into all kinds of different gear and things you can buy. And sure, if you've got the budget for it, go for it and grab what you want to get. But if you can do it a little more efficiently and maybe a little bit smarter, go get a good solid radio, go get a good solid resonant antenna that knocks out a couple $100 on the tuner. And, you know, get some good coax. Don't cheap out on the coax. Always use good coax, whether it be Messi and Poloni, or maybe the ABR Industries has really good coax. I'm kind of partial ABR because they're here in town. But you know, just get the best quality you can afford. And most of all, and I can't stress this enough, most of all, go out and enjoy ham radio. You spent the time studying, passing the exams. Enjoy this hobby, have a good time with it, learn, always be learning, always be experimenting. You know, like I said, when I first got into ham radio, I had no intention of building antennas. Wasn't going to happen. I'm going to buy all my antennas and use my tuner. I'll outthink everybody else. Well, now I have about, 10 or 11 end-fed half waves and other kinds of antennas that I just build. And I just, you know, I'll wake up in the morning and go, oh, let's go downstairs, look at my little supply box and pick out parts, start building something. So never say never in ham radio, because you're probably lying to yourself. You're going to want to go off and experiment a little bit, and you'll have a lot more fun with it. You'll learn as you're building stuff. You're going to learn new skills. It's going to prod you to go, okay, well, why is that like that? Or why am I using this part? And you'll start researching that. It opens up another rabbit hole for new things to learn. So there's always stuff out there to learn. You have a lot of resources out here between me and all the other YouTubers out here, the huge ham radio community that's online, the guys on Discord, out on Toad's Discord, Ham Radio Crash Course. Josh has a fantastic setup on his Discord channel, and he does those live videos every Saturday night, so that's always a fantastic time. And we have an after chat at the end of that that runs about 3 to 4 hours, depending. And you can go up there and you can ask questions live, you know, get on there and, you know, talk to people and get answers, and just meet the people in the community and get your questions answered. So I highly encourage everybody to at least give it a shot. And John, I appreciate you reaching out to me. I'm sorry this video took so long, but it would have taken even longer if I had to type it all out. Again, guys, if you have long questions or things you want answers to, you know, I might turn it into a show. There's a chance. So if you want to, you know, play the lottery ticket there and see if, let's see if Scott will turn it into a show. Maybe I will. But if you have longer questions, you know, please do email me on my website. That's hamradiofornontechies.com. I'll put this site up here, right? Oh, nope, wrong one, because I'm an idiot. There we go. hamradiofornontechies.com. And there's a lot of info over there, guys. If you're, you know, again, if you're new to ham radio, I spent a lot of time building out this site and doing a lot of things with it to get it to work. and give you guys the most information possible, and make sure you have plenty of resources out there for any ham radio questions, especially if you're a new person, you're trying to learn, okay, what books do I need to go to try to study for ham radio? What tests are there? Just learning about it in general. This is the way to do it, is by going to my website here, which I cannot get to come up for some reason. My internet's being slow today. But there's a lot of resources over there for you. I have stuff that covering frequencies, covering what privileges you have based on what license level you are. There's things on there on how to find where to go get tested, all different aspects of ham radio and things you can do in the hobby. There's a lot of stuff, or a lot of resources. So I encourage you guys to go over and check that stuff out and enjoy it. Anyway, guys, if you like this video, once again, please give me a thumbs up. That really does help the YouTube algorithm show my video to more people that are interested in YouTube videos concerning the topic of ham radio. And if you're not a subscriber here, I'm trying to get that 10,000 mark. I'm pretty sure I'll hit it by the weekend because I'm really, really close. But if you're new here or haven't subscribed, subscriptions down below are free. Just click the subscribe button, click on the little bell, and you'll be notified when I do new videos. Until then, guys, I'll try not to be away so long in the future, but I really hope you guys will come back and stick around. I hope you enjoy the videos. Hit me up if you got any questions, comments down below. I answer every single comment every single day. And until then, guys, this is Ham Radio for Non-Techies, and we are clear.